today. The algorithm follows the audience. That is the biggest thing. If you want to learn about what the algorithm's doing, get curious about what the people that are in your community are up to. What are their pain points? What are they into? What are they wanting to buy now? What are they, vibing to? And then go with that. Then, of course, if you want to think of the platform, we're thinking about long-term, right? We're talking about long-term viewer satisfaction, and that's where consistency will play a big part on your part, and then always keeping playful energy, experimenting, being curious about the audience, and expecting fluctuations, because there's seasonality, there's life, there's December, and so you'll always expect a little bit of up and down. But yeah, that is it for me. The algorithm follows the audience, and creators that follow their audience win when it comes to the algorithm. Thank you.
We're now going to facilitate a Q&A. Twana, please be comfortable and take a seat.
Oh, take a seat. I
So
love
we're
this
going to be
one.
taking some questions. Millicent is over there. There's a hand right at the back. Please, if you have a question, please raise your hand so we can see you. There's one right here out front with you. So what's your question?
Okay, hi, Paula.
Hey.
So there's a perception that the YouTube algorithm doesn't like black people.
Hey.
So what's the question?
So the question is that true?
Oh, that's an easy question. It's not true. Because, like I mentioned, it follows the audience. So it really is about what is the audience interested in. If you think about, and I don't know the stats off the top of my head, but if you think about how Nollywood's performing, we did an event there in May, and how that is skyrocketing, it's right back to what's the audience interested in? What are they consuming, and not specifically the algorithm? It's not on the list of things that it takes into consideration. So thanks for asking. It's worth having the conversation.
Cool. Please introduce yourself and give us your question.
Thank you. My name is Fenza Light. Hi, Twana. So what I wanted to ask from a YouTube interest, obviously every channel, every user, every content creator wants fans and viewers for their page, right? From a YouTube interest, are you more interested in pages and channels that have loyalty, or are you interested in the YouTube user that goes across the YouTube community? So do you focus more on, let's say, the Send Twins page has huge loyalty, that's a win for you as YouTube, or you want the kind of user that goes into Send Twins, goes into another channel, so that to be a consumer of YouTube as opposed to loyal to like a channel?
Okay, I get what you mean. So you're asking if the algorithm favors or is more keen to support pages that have tons of subscribers as opposed to focusing on users that go from channel to channel. That's a really good question. So basically, why having tons of subscribers is helpful for a creator is more around the signals that the algorithm is taking in, right? And so it's not so much that the algorithm really is focused on, do you have tons of subscribers? It's also why you can have just a few subscribers and still end up on the trendings page, because it's right back to the audience. Where it does help to have an engaged community is back to the signals, right? So imagine Send Twins, they say there are about 300,000 people watching. Part of what's available to their subscribers is the notification bell. So when they release their video to these 300,000 people, they get the notification and they actually click on it and watch it and are satisfied so the actions taken by the user is more important. But you're not necessarily going to get penalized or more celebrated based on a subscriber count. It really is the content good, and do the people want to see it, and you're good to go.
And you're good to go. Hi, so please introduce yourself and give us your question.
Hi, Twana, George here.
Hey, George.
I wanted to ask you, does niche matter? So if I'm a sports creator, do I get punished if maybe tomorrow I want to do politics? Or is it just down to the quality of the video that I put out according to that? Do I get punished in that sense?
No, so the only punishments in quotation marks would only be if you get like a copyright strike. Those are the type of things, but you'll always get a notification. The reason that people suggest like having a niche is more around building the audience and building the community, and then solidifying yourself as a thought leader in that space, right? So imagine as a channel, if they had all these different subject matters, if you're good at all of them, by all means, go forth and your audience will find you. But from the perspective of making it easier to establish yourself as a thought leader, that's where those sort of niches come in. It's also why some creators choose to have different channels. I understand twins, you've got a travel channel, you've got a separate channel for podcasts, and these different communities that you're building. So from a strategy perspective, it really depends on what you as a creator wants to do.
Okay, love it. Next one. We're going to take a few more questions. Please introduce yourself and give us your question.
Hi, I'm Kgampe. I have a question about what YouTube focuses on in terms of views. So they say that if people are watching the video for longer than, I think is it, I don't know, 3 seconds or 10 seconds, then it's deemed as people favoring it. But in the niche that I am, which is a DIY how-to, some people are not ready to watch the video in full at the moment they click it the first time. So if they watch it for a short time and then they watch it later, YouTube will say, oh, the person was not interested. I feel like in that aspect, when you look at different niches, that is different because there's certain content that people are ready to watch immediately, like news. But if it's a how-to video, they're not ready to watch it the moment they click it. They'll watch it for a short time and then maybe come back to it later, maybe months later. So how does YouTube deal with that? Because I feel like in different niches that could harm a creator.
Absolutely, really good question. And what I would say is like, the algorithm is consistent across all formats. From a creative perspective and trying to gauge for yourself, is it working, is it not working, how do I feel about this? There's other factors. So today I spoke about our recommendation system. We also have our search and discovery system as well, right? So like from a search perspective, YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world, second only to Google, right? And so from that perspective for how-to content, I think I had a slide. Can I go back? Do I have time to quickly go back? Okay, so from here, you can see that for how-to content, when you're trying to decide, am I doing well or not well, exactly what you said. You would see your traffic source be really high over here, right, from search. And so from a search perspective, if you see that kind of thing, you'd be like, okay, maybe the things, the DIY stuff that I'm showing people isn't what they're looking for, and perhaps I want to change and pivot. But from the algorithm's perspective, it will still support you equally. I hope that answers your question, but that's basically what I was trying to show here, to say for how-to content, search would be your highest traffic source. For things like music and that kind of stuff, you might get a higher traffic source from playlists than you would from suggested, versus something like news or really quick to consume content, there you get it more from home. So it's a good question, and what you're seeing is not uncommon.
Fantastic. One more question from my side. Millicent, you'll wrap it up on your side as well. So please introduce yourself and give us your question.
Okay, my name is Oscar. So I've pretty much 2 questions rolled into one, but they all like very much linked, pertaining to YouTube Shorts. I'm pretty sure a lot of creators, their main cost of consideration when it comes to making YouTube Shorts, it's not really the monetary side, but the algorithm is a bit iffy. You tend to get like an influx of views, and then up to a certain point, it just flatlines abruptly, which is very weird. Like in the same hour, you had, let's say, 4,000 viewers in that hour, and then in the next hour, it's now 200. Next hour, 0 for the next, I don't know, 7 months. It flatlines. I've checked it out across some of my shorts from as far back as October 2020, and even up to now that happens. And then also, I tend to notice that some of my long form content where I clip a short from, the short itself might start gaining a lot of views from, I would say, the search more than the actual long form video. And I'm not too sure like how that happens, whereas it's not getting a lot of views from the shorts feed, but from the search. But the main video isn't performing that well, even though it has a better looking thumbnail. The title is most probably the same. I'm also trying to change it to see how it works, but once the algorithm decides that this short is going to trend on search and it's going to flatline, nothing changes.
I see.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah. So 2 questions. I think for the first one that you mentioned, part of that fluctuation is the algorithm is learning from how it's performing as time is going. So the same way that you're watching, it's also taking in all these different factors. And then the other thing to keep in mind there, and I think you kind of mentioned it, is that the recommendation system or the algorithm that the shorts feed runs on is a separate and different algorithm to what your long form content would be running on. And the good thing about that is you're able to reach a different audience, you're able to have a similar topic, but see different performances on both of those things, which then begs the question from lots of creators, similar to yourself, to say, okay, but if the one is doing better, how do I use that to make the other one do better, right? So if you, like you're saying, the clips you make from the long form, the shorts do really well, this on search, exactly, but how do you then convert that to making sure the long form video of that same topic also does well? So that was a question that we got a lot. And so recently, there is a feature that's already live where your short, if it's related to a long form video, you can now link that long form video to that short. So whether I find that short through search, whether I find it by accident on the shorts feed, I can very easily, like as a viewer, I don't have to do anything. I just have to click on it and it'll take me directly to the long form video. And then from your side, if you're really into analytics and that kind of stuff, when you're looking at your video performance and you go to your traffic sources, it will literally say there that for this video, this many views came directly from that short that you made. So it's a solid question, and based on like meetings like this, the product team has in fact done that, and it's launched and available here too. Thank you.
Oh, hey, Tools, what's your question?
Yes, it's me, Tools. Everybody doesn't know. Father, thank you so much for having us.
Good to see you again.
Likewise. My question to you is that I read a report that YouTube is one of the leading almost streaming services globally, and obviously as a business, you guys want to have people watching on their televisions and watching with long watch hours. With data being such a hindrance here in South Africa, what is YouTube's strategy in enriching and making sure that our viewers are able to watch content for longer?
Great question, great question. And I will say it is something that our team is very aware of, and I know that multiple teams are trying to find different ways. What is currently available here, and you'll see, I experience it every time I come, is you are able, with the data issues in mind, that you're able to, if you are in a Wi-Fi area, download any content that you might want to watch later. And that's a feature that, although is here and has been here for years, is not available everywhere else. And so for now, that is something that's available. And from a creative perspective, if your audience does that, like if you've got an audience that's maybe students or at work or whatever, they can download that content, watch it later. When they're back online, all of that analytics and all of that video performance still counts in your favor, and it will update, and you'll be able to see that, okay, if 10,000 people downloaded it, watched it while they were offline, that would still count towards you in that way. And so it is something that we're aware of and are working on from a product perspective, and many other teams as well are looking at ways that we can better support that.
Drops mic. Please give it up for Choir! Like in true South African style, give us something. And just in case the person who's sitting next to you didn't tell you you look cute today.